In October of 2016, I was going about my normal everyday life when suddenly it felt as if I was inside a life simulation computer game. This simulated world appeared in my mind and was layered over the top of the real world. It looked very similar to Roblox or Second Life. There were avatars who constantly harassed me and forced me to compete in all sorts of different challenges and mind games. This was an extremely confusing and chaotic time for me. It made my job as an electrician an almost impossible task. My boss noticed a dramatic change and I was fired within a matter of weeks. After much confusion, I would eventually learn that I was a non-consensual experimental test subject for the global elite's plan for a new world order. The New World Order is a mirror world created in a computer which can be projected into the mind to create what's known as hyperreality. Hyperreality is an inability of consciousness to distinguish reality from a simulation of reality. What is real and what is fiction are blended together so that there is no clear distinction between where one ends and the other begins. It allows the co-mingling of physical reality with virtual reality and human intelligence with artificial intelligence. This is accomplished by creating a real-time mirror model of the world in a supercomputer. The simulation is linked to the real world so that everything that occurs in the real world happens in the simulation and vice versa. Smart devices in the Internet of Everything monitor the environment and relay this information to the computer simulation. Based upon this information, artificial intelligence software agents take actions to affect the environment through actuators. This allows the shadow government to program and control the real world from within the simulation. All people and things will be machine-readable and writable and subject to the power of algorithms.
In the mirror world, everything will have a paired twin. NASA engineers pioneered this concept in the 1960s. By keeping a duplicate of any machine they sent into space, they could troubleshoot a malfunctioning component while its counterpart was thousands of miles away. These twins evolved into computer simulations, digital twins. Eventually, everything will have a digital twin. This is happening faster than you may think.
We will begin with the mouse, we will practice with the mouse, and we will put the brain, this digital brain, onto a virtual mouse. And right now the mouse does not do anything really interesting, but the first thing it did is to start to dance. This is a virtual mouse and it's going to behave in a virtual environment, and gradually it will learn all the things that mice know how to do.
We have good enough models of all the kinds of brain cells and a good enough model of a brain. We can put it together to make a good enough model of an entire brain, and that model would have the same input-output behavior as the original. So if you talk to it, it might talk back. If you ask it to do things, it might do them. And if we could do that, everything would change.
We'll be able to start exploring and get inside the brain. You see, today I cannot get inside your brain to see how it works. I can measure it from the outside, but I can't get inside and look at what you see. But with this, you'll be able to step inside a brain and look at how it builds a world.
Every human being will become a node and a sensor on the geographic information grid. Now, what does that mean? They become a node and a sensor. A sensor, in other words, they want to get to the point where they can map the individual's mind and they can actually use that person as a sensor. So there's a two-way communication between the supercomputers, let's say, and us. And it's not just TIs.
This technology can also tap into the optical nerve of the target and the auditory system of the target, so that those monitoring the target can see what the target is seeing and hear what the target is hearing. This information is then downloaded and stored on a computer in a highly secure, classified site on servers that are guarded by some of the tightest security in the world. This results in the individual's entire day, everything they see, everything they hear, everything they experience, and everything they feel being recorded till the end of time.
To recreate a map that is as big as the globe, in 3D no less, you need to photograph all places and things from every possible angle all the time, which means you need to have a planet full of cameras that are always on. Everything connected to the internet will be connected to the mirror world, and anything connected to the mirror world will see and be seen by everything else in this interconnected environment.
This was a white paper put out by Purdue University in 2006, and the Sentient World Simulation, SWS, went live in 2007, which represents every person on the planet within this computer matrix as a node, and every node is given an avatar, an identifier. And that is real-time, 24/7 monitoring of every person on the planet. This is primarily, but not exclusively, facilitated by the adiabatic quantum computers produced by D-Wave Corporation.
At the time of initial reports on the program 5 years ago, there were only 62 country-level simulations being run by the US Department of Defense. These simulations grouped humans into composites, with 100 individuals acting as a single node. But already at that time, the US Army had used the systems to create a one-to-one level simulation of potential Army recruits.
It's the stuff of a Hollywood movie, but a group of veterans has filed a lawsuit against the CIA and US Army claiming that the government planted remote control devices in their brains. The claims relate to a government program at the US Army's Edgewood Arsenal in Maryland.
The ultimate aim would be to archive enough data on each individual to be able to make a computer model of everyone on the planet.
A targeted individual's biological neurons are linked to a simulated neural network in the cloud to create a cognitive model. This cognitive model is used to create an individual's avatar in a computer-generated living model of the world. The avatar is also sometimes referred to as a digital twin, emulation, or autonomous software agent.
Okay, the first thing I can tell you is that M's spend most of their life in virtual reality. While this is what you would look like in virtual reality, this is what an M would look like when virtual reality. It's computer hardware sitting in a server rack somewhere. But still, it could see and experience the same thing.
This virtual realm will be layered over the view of the physical world, so the robot will also see the real-time movements of people as they walk by. The same will be true of the AIs driving cars. They too will be immersed in the mirror world. They will rely on the fully digitized version of roads and cars provided by the platform. All that a robot sees will be instantly projected into the mirror world for the benefit of other machines. When a robot looks, it will be both seeing for itself and providing a scan for other robots. In the mirror world, too, virtual bots will become embodied. They'll get a virtual 3D photorealistic shell, whether machine, animal, human or alien. Inside the mirror world, agents like Siri and Alexa will take on 3D forms that can see and be seen. Their eyes will be the embedded billion eyes of the Matrix. They will be able not just to hear our voices, but also, by watching our virtual avatars, to see our gestures and pick up on our micro-expressions and moods. Their spatial forms, faces, limbs, will also increase the nuances of their interactions with us. The mirror world will be the badly needed interface where we meet AIs, which otherwise are abstract spirits in the cloud.
These synthetically created spirits or artificial intelligent software agents are the entities that speak to targeted individuals and are what cause them to hear voices. They can be embodied in any computer node in the Internet of Everything and can travel at the speed of light from brain to brain. They can use the targeted individual's eyes and ears to map the environment and can manipulate and control any human connected as a node in the Internet of Everything.
And an M can move its brain, the computer that represents its brain, from one physical location to another. M's can actually move around the world at the speed of light. And by moving to a new location, they can interact more quickly with M's near that new location.
Emulation is really what we talk about in the SWS as the nodes, the avatars. Every single person on the planet, okay, out of Purdue University's own paper in 2006, every person is assigned a avatar. They're represented computationally in the AI system that drives the SWS as a computer node, but they're given an avatar marker. Take the avatar and hang the word emulation on it.
So if I copy you into a machine, that copy process has all of the properties we were talking about as being a soul. First of all, it's immaterial. because copying, that's not a thing, it's a process. It's immortal. It's just like you. You can put it in any environment you want, heaven, hell, make a simulation. So, all of these things that reside in our heads, these abstract concepts, I think that eventually we can build them, and we have to decide what we want to build.
They are building false realities into which they want to induct you so they can play God.
So let's switch it on, but to do it, what you have to do is you have to make this come alive. We make it come alive with equations, a lot of mathematics. And in fact, the equations that make neurons into electrical generators were discovered by 2 Cambridge Nobel laureates. So we have the mathematics to make neurons come alive. We also have the mathematics to describe how neurons collect information and how they create a little lightning bolt to communicate with each other. And when they get to the synapse, what they do is they effectively, literally shock the synapse. It's like electrical shock that releases the chemicals from these synapses. And we've got the mathematics to describe this process. So we can describe the communication between the neurons. So there literally are only a handful of equations that you need to simulate the activity of the neocortex. So you can think of the neocortex actually as a massive grand piano, million-key grand piano. Each of these neocortical columns would produce a note. You stimulate it, it produces a symphony. But it's not just a symphony of perception. It's a symphony of your universe, your reality.